I've just returned from the National Poster Retrospecticus art exhibit, and after seeing some of the posters that they had there on display, now I'm thinking to myself, I really need to up my art print making game. Greetings, people of the internet. I'm Scott with Serkworks Art Labs. Welcome, mad creators, to the underground laboratory where we create robots, aliens, zombies, and other imminent threats to humanity. And sometimes what I do when I create those things is I turn them into prints or posters. And I just returned, like I said, from the National Poster Retrospecticus. That's a mouthful, isn't it? The National Poster Retrospecticus art exhibit in Phoenix, Arizona. And this is a traveling show that go over the place. And I mean, you can book them and set up a show and everything, and I'll leave a link to their website where if you are in that, you know, if you have the wherewithal to do that, you can do that, or maybe just find out when they're coming to your town. But yeah, I was super impressed. This is a show that I've been aware of for a while. I had heard about the curator, I guess the owner of the company, JP Boneyard. I don't know his actual last name, but that's what he goes by, JP Boneyard. But anyway, so I listened to him on a podcast, and this podcast is a lot. It talks a lot about poster design and stuff, and you know, gig posters and movie posters and things like that, like the sort of Mondo, if you're into like the Mondo posters and all that kind of stuff. So I followed this podcast and they had him on and he was talking about it. I'm like, man, I really got to check that out. So when I heard it was coming to my city, I was like, oh man, that's really cool. So I wanted to check that out, and I did. And what was awesome, I just got to see such really cool artwork. The other thing was, when you get up close and personal with some of these designs, it's like, wow, man, I really got to step it up a notch. So that's what I'm planning on doing with some. Well, I'll talk about my future plans, and I want to kind of get into. I want to show some of my posters, because if you follow this channel, you may only see me do sketches and things like that. Maybe the comic books. Maybe you're not even aware of sort of my finished prints that I do. So I wanted to share some of those with you. Some of my thought process behind those, where I've been with that, and kind of where I plan to go in the future. But first, what I want to do is I want to show you around this exhibit. So in order to do that, we're going to go up here to the paralleloscope, the device that allows us to leave the confines of the underground layer, go out, you know, visit parallel universes, alternate realities where stuff like this is happening. So let's tap in and see what's going on at the National Poster Retrospecticus exhibit. Let's go up here to the paralleloscope. So here we are at the event, the National Poster Retrospecticus. This is a touring exhibit, so it may come to your town. You can see some of the posters on the wall. We'll get a little closer look here. Up there, all the ones with the cities, those are all Aaron Draplin, I think, most of them. Same with the space shuttle one. And I'm not familiar with all of these artists, but like this one here, this green one, that's Daniel Danger, and he does these really cool like buildings and things that are like falling apart. And down here, this Grand Canyon, that's DKNG, and you should really go to their website. I'll put a link, but they show their whole process, and they add all these different halftones and all these textures. Really amazing design studio. And again, tons of Aaron Draplin stuff, all again, the cities and everything. And I wish I knew all of these artists, but I definitely want to dig a little more and find out. But just getting up close and looking at these, now some of them may look the same, like the national parks ones, very similar, but when you look closer, you see all these different illustration techniques. Really cool. Like these two are vastly different. I'm not sure. Like I might have thought that one there was DKNG, but I don't think it is. And then this one here, with the guy looking over the mountains, it just amazed me. Just getting to see all this stuff, I was just really impressed. I think this is Tom Whalen, the one with the bear, and he's got another one. Either that or somebody that really looks a lot like his style. That's another one of my favorite artists. But yeah, I was super impressed, and I definitely think you should check out some of these people's work, and I'll put a link to them. But in addition to just getting a chance to see the posters, they also had a panel discussion. That's JP Boneyard. He's the curator and the guy who started the National Poster Retrospecticus. But this whole talk was just about side hustles and how this whole thing came to be. It was just a hobby, and then so I really related to that because I'm big on having that side hustle and everything. So yeah, great show. Okay, so now that you've seen what the show is like, maybe you get a better understanding of why it gets a little intimidating when you're a poster artist, or when you do art prints and things like that, and you see these just amazing artists, and you see them up close and personal, and you actually get this. I mean, I've seen a lot of these artist stuff online, but once you actually see the prints up close, it's really amazing, and I just got to see ton of cool posters, and so I'm thinking, and actually I went and I at the end, before I left the show, I went and I talked to the curator of this exhibit, and he was asking me, well, are you an illustrator, graphic designer, or whatever? And I told him, well, yeah, I'm an illustrator. I do art prints and everything. And I was like, I'm wondering, I was going to approach you. I was going to ask kind of what that curation process is like, what you're looking for, that whole thing. And then after seeing the posters, I just didn't know if I don't want to say I don't think my stuff was up to par, because they have a lot of different designs, but they do a whole, a national park series that's just amazing. That's not the kind of stuff I do, but they've got other things like the Aaron Draplin space shuttle print, and there's a lot of different styles. So even though my stuff might not fit in sort of their main thing, which I think is the national parks, who knows? So anyway, he gave me a card and everything, so I'll have to contact him and kind of see what's involved. And it might be just a good idea to kind of show him, even if my stuff isn't what he's looking for now, maybe in the future, because I'm planning on changing a few things, and I want to get into that. But first, like I said, I want to talk to you guys. I want to show everyone some of my posters and some of my process behind that. Not the actual creation, but my thinking behind that. So I pulled out a few of my posters, and just thought I'd share those with you. So, and again, all of these, again, I say again all the time, but I never mentioned this in the first place. But so all of these prints are available on my website unless otherwise noted. So anyway, okay, so this is the first one I kind of wanted to show you guys. This is the Mech versus Kaiju. So the idea behind this is, I'm a big fan, and you'll see kind of a running theme with some of my things. I talk about robots, aliens, zombies, all that stuff, but robots are just a big thing with me. So a lot of my prints do involve robots, specifically giant mechs and things. So I'm a big fan of that whole genre and everything. So what I wanted to do, I mean, you always see these these battles between these huge kaiju monsters and giant mechs, but I thought it'd be cool to do like a boxing poster, like advertising one of these brawls. So, I've got the two titans tussle over Tokyo, Mecha versus Kaiju, and then down below, and I always like to work my own brand into my print. So it'll say like Serkworks presents, and then I made two different logos. I've got the robotics division and the bionuclear department. So the bionuclear associating with the kaiju, where maybe that's how it was born, how it was created. And then of course, once you create some kind of monstrosity, then you've got to find a way to stop it if it gets out of hand, and that's where the robotics division comes in. So anyway, so that's kind of the idea behind this. And if you can see, I don't do screen printing, which if you were at the show, basically all their stuff is screen printed, and I love that look. But even though I don't really do screen printing, and I'd like a lot of my prints could easily be done as screen prints, because as you can see, for a lot of my prints, I like to keep very limited color palettes. So you're seeing kind of just that blue and that orange right here for the most part. So this could easily be done as a screen print, but I like to do some weathering and things like that. Yeah, so that's that. And one thing I want to show you, there's some things that you can look at with my prints where you can kind of pick them out. Some reoccurring devices that I use that I may be moving away from as we go forward. But as of right now, you can see almost all of my designs have sort of this white outline around it, and sort of and there's usually some sort of a shadow behind it as well. And that came from me. I've always been a big fan of those 80s stickers you get in the tops, the sticker packs, like the old Star Wars cards. They always kind of had that outline around it. And for whatever reason, I just like the idea of something kind of being slapped on, like in layers and everything. So that's kind of something that I've always done. But let me show you another one here. This one I really like because I like the typography on this a lot. I like what I did here with the curve. That sounds kind of, I like what I did here. But no, I mean, sometimes you gotta be proud of your work at some point. And this whole video is about me, thinking that I've got to change the way I'm doing some stuff because I want it to look better. So even though you're happy with it, you always want to improve and everything. But anyway, so again, Serkworks Industries on here. I always like to tie in the brand because all this stuff is stuff that is built here in the underground lair and everything, so I kind of want to show that. So just as an advertisement for, you know, time machines, these are the time machines we would develop here in the lab, and this, you know, revolution time travel since 2059, so there's sort of that callback that this was done in the future, but of course we travel to the past and everything, so that makes all that possible, past, present, and future. And again, very limited color palette, purples, oranges, and some grays, and then some variations, some lighter oranges and things. But I try to keep it, keep the color palette fairly, you know, fairly limited. And again, we talked about my love of giant mechs. This is a poster design I did for Phoenix Comic-Con, and this is a throwback to. Voltron's real popular right now, but previous to Voltron, you also had, like, I think it's called Gatchaman in Japan. Here in the States, it's known as Battle of the Planets. But this, and just, that's the first one that I was ever exposed to as a kid. But this is a whole genre in Japan where they've got, you know, they've got the giant mechs. Sometimes they combine and everything, but they've all got pilots and everything that fly, you know, Voltron, Power Rangers, all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to do my take on that. And because it's Phoenix Comic-Con, I thought Phoenix would be a cool sort of design to work into the, I mean, Phoenix as far as the mythical bird. So basically what I did, this is the design, and I created my own pilots, and a lot of times there's an archetype to them. Now the new Voltron, I think they did a little, I think they've really expanded that and they gave the characters a little more character. But again, in a lot of these shows, and was kind of the leader, the loose cannon guy that doesn't really listen to orders, kind of, you know, does his own thing. There's always usually a princess involved. There's like one girl, always a princess. You've got the kid genius, and then the heavy, which is like the big guy and everything. So I kind of wanted to take all those and just play off of that, but create a Phoenix style mech. So you've got, I worked in the emblem here is the Phoenix Comic-Con logo, plus sort of the wings and everything, sort of the bird shape with the hat, with the head and everything. So that's the idea behind that. I had a lot of fun with that one. This one I'm pretty proud of. Then I did this one. This is another giant mech design, and I just love doing these, and they seem to, you know, people tend to gravitate towards these designs that I do. The more mechs I do, the more people, I tend to find an audience for these. So, but anyway, so this one is a throwback to the old blaxploitation movies and things. There was one time where I had a big kick where I watched tons of stuff like Superfly and Shaft and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, so this is the giant Mech Daddy, and you know, I just wanted to capture that look. So just the style of the fonts and everything I used to this sort of graphical element and everything. And again, the color scheme, you know, very limited. It's just a few different colors and everything. And once again, you sort of see that white outline appearing again. You see that through most of my designs. This one, I just wanted. I'm a big fan of Sriracha, so I wanted to do a Sriracha print. So the Hoi Fang Sriracha has the rooster as sort of their trademark. So I wanted to sort of take that and make that into a giant mech. And I want a sort of a propaganda style poster, something you might just see, you know, just posted on a wall as an advertisement. And then I've, you know, again, that repeated theme of having my logo and then another, Sriracha logo, and then some Thai font. Hopefully that translates well. I just use Google. I use Google Translate, so hopefully that came out all right. But I forgot what it said. I think it's just hot sauce or something. So there's that. So that's some of what I do. This one isn't on my store yet, but this might be a little more towards the direction. And this particular piece, I eliminated the white outline around it. I still like it, and I still think it kind of fits my aesthetic. But anyway, so it was a cover that I did for the Life in Space anthology. So this one isn't on my site yet because I think there's a time limit before I'm allowed to like sell this stuff. Because they're just with the contract and everything, but that should be coming up soon. So when it does, this will be available. But just kind of Life in Space, again, very limited, almost one color, different tones and everything. So this would make a great print, and you can see there's a lot more detail in here. This one was actually done with a brush. All the other ones are done in Illustrator. I still think that that I would probably illustrate most of these in Illustrator as opposed to the brush, because I like that real clean line, but I want to add a lot more detail, kind of like you see here. The other thing, let me show you these here. Now, those are sort of my standard size. I've got larger poster size ones too, and then sometimes I'll do a series, and for those I usually do smaller prints. So this is my Retrovention series, and the idea behind this, these are just inventions that could never really exist because they're sort of created in just the time that it's hard to explain, but let me show you and you might get it. So here, this is sort of a combination of a Polaroid camera and a Viewmaster, and if you guys are old enough or maybe you've seen pictures of those, that's what that is. So it's basically an advertisement for an invention that could never really exist, but it's fun to imagine. So there's that, and then another one in the series here. This one a lot of people tend to like. This is the Arcade Boy, which is a combination of the old Atari 2600 and a Game Boy, like the original Game Boy. And again, something that really couldn't happen, but it's fun to imagine. And then the last one in that series is the Vinyl Man, which is a portable 45 RPM record. They're, 45 RPMs, and they're sort of the smaller LPs, the one that you have to use the little adapter for. If you have seen, maybe if you're older, or maybe if you're a hipster or something, you're into vinyl, you probably know all about these. But anyway, this, just couldn't exist. So sometimes I like to combine, and make a series. And up until now, anytime I do a series, I usually do these as a smaller size. But the next series I'm going to do, and this is sort of the direction that I'm going in, what I'm talking about. Obviously, if you watch the show, I always say I do robots, aliens, zombies. So what I want to do is I want to do a robot print, an alien print, and a zombie print in sort of a classical movie style. I want to add a lot of detail. I want these things I really want to put in a lot of extra time, because the problem is, the thing is, a lot of when you look at something like by DKNG or something, just the amount of detail and the halftones and all that stuff, they put so much time into these, and unfortunately I haven't really had the luxury to do that, because I'm not that in this poster space. I'm not like a huge well-known brand. So I don't know if I spend hours and hours on something, I put that out there and it just flops. It could just flop. Once you sort of build a reputation and you have an audience, I think you can really allow yourself to spend more time on a poster design like that. But you know what? For this series, I'm going to put my all into it, and we'll see where it goes. But I want to do these three, like a triptych, these three different movie posters. One's going to be like the robot uprising, the other would be the zombie apocalypse, and then the alien invasion. And they would, probably have different colors. Each one would, like, one might be more blue, one might be more green, one might be more yellow, or I don't know. We'll figure that out when I start laying it out. But I really want, I want to do the best. I want to spend that extra time. And if it doesn't, if it turns out like I put it out there and it doesn't work, then maybe I go back to doing, I don't want to say these are quick, because they take a lot of time, but the amount of time that some of these other poster artists you see spend on a poster design, I just haven't had that. I haven't been fortunate enough to be able to spend that kind of time, to make that kind of investment in time. So I'm going to give it a shot. So that's kind of where I'm going at. And but I want to know what you guys think. Are you into posters, gig posters, movie posters? And really, if you see when I talk about movie posters, when you see the movie posters that are out there in the theater, these are like these kind of Photoshoppy. Most of them aren't great. I mean, the movie studios want to put the movie star's face on it, so they don't really want it to be illustrative. For the most part, they just want photographs, and so I'm just not crazy about the movie posters you see. But all the best movie posters are online, and those are the things that are really selling. So there's a community for that will just eat the stuff up, and they can put them up for sale, and they're just bam, they're gone, because a lot of times they're limited edition, and there's like people just jump on it trying to get these. So that's a testament to how great these posters are, because I guarantee you a lot of these Photoshop things, that if they try to do the same thing, no one's going to want them. I mean, they're just, you know, and if you do that kind of work, I mean, there is an art to that. I'm not going to say there's not, but when you look at stuff like what Mondo is doing and everything, it's just a whole other level. So that's kind of what I kind of strive to be at. So I'm gonna give it my all. But let me know what kind of poster designs you're looking for. Do you have any favorite artists? Are you just kind of new to this? Maybe you're a comic book illustrator and you're not really all that familiar with that kind of gig poster side. You should definitely check it out, and I will leave links to some of my favorite designers that do posters in here, plus the National Poster Retrospecticus, which like I said, if it's coming to your town, definitely check it out. And yeah, that's about all I have to say. Again, let me know in the comment sections anything you want to know, anything you want to ask, let me know, and I will see you guys later. That is all. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me here in the Art Lab. There's a lot of other great content on the channel, so click that subscribe button and you won't miss a thing. If you're an aspiring evil genius, visit Serkworks.com for all your mad science supply needs. And if you want to contact me, hit me up in the comments section or follow me on social media. I'm looking forward to it. I'll see you then.